Here are 101 facts about Black Myth Wukong that you were missing, but not anymore. Black Myth Wukong became an instant sensation, with its first trailer garnering over 10 million views in just a few days, making it one of the most anticipated upcoming games in the world. The game is a Souls-like action RPG set in ancient China, inspired by the 16th century Chinese novel, A Journey to the West. Players control Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, wielding a magical staff and supernatural abilities. Wukong can transform into various creatures, including giant insects and small animals, adding stealth and puzzle-solving elements to combat. The combat system is inspired by Dark Souls, but with a unique focus on fluid martial arts and magic. Wukong's 72 transformations come directly from the myth of the Monkey King, offering a range of abilities in battle. You can use Wukong's staff to perform aerial combat, ground-based strikes, and even summon storms. The game's parry mechanic allows players to deflect enemy attacks with perfect timing, giving a tactical advantage. The staff of Sun Wukong can extend and contract at will, mirroring his abilities from the original myth. Players will face boss fights that are massive in scale, with some bosses towering over the player. The NPCs are heavily influenced by Chinese folklore, ranging from mythical creatures to deities. Real-time weather changes will affect combat, with some enemies gaining strengths in particular conditions. AI-controlled enemies will learn and adapt to the player's playstyle over time. The game supports stealth mechanics, allowing players to sneak past enemies or engage in battle. The boss battles are varied, with some requiring brute force, others a tactical approach, and even puzzle elements. There's a morality system in the game where your actions impact the story's progression. Mounts will be available, allowing Wukong to travel across the massive open world faster. The game uses Unreal Engine 5 to deliver stunning visuals, including incredibly detailed character models and environments. The animations are handcrafted, making every move Wukong performs feel fluid and realistic. Wukong has access to elemental magic, allowing him to control fire, water, wind, and more. Environmental puzzles will be part of the exploration, encouraging players to think outside the box. Multiple difficulty settings allow players of all skill levels to enjoy the game. The game's combat relies on fast reflexes and precise timing, requiring skill and patience to master. The story is inspired by one of the 4 great classical novels of Chinese literature, Journey to the West. Black Myth Wukong explores an alternate take on the Monkey King's journey, deviating from the traditional plot. The game's setting is deeply rooted in ancient Chinese culture, with villages, temples, and forests modeled after real-world locations. The story will involve multiple narrative paths, allowing players to make choices that shape the outcome. The Heavenly Kingdom will play a significant role in the story, with Wukong eventually ascending to fight the gods. Dialogue choices will affect Wukong's relationships with NPCs and potentially alter the story's direction. The game also explores Chinese Buddhist philosophy, adding layers of depth to the narrative. The game's world features hidden areas and secret bosses, encouraging exploration and replayability. You'll meet 3 Wukong variants, each representing different aspects of the legendary character. Here will be dozens of side quests tied to Chinese mythology, allowing players to dive deeper into the lore. The game's developer has revealed that the story will include both heartwarming and tragic moments, emphasizing emotional storytelling. The narrative will focus on themes of destiny and self-realization, a common thread in Journey to the West. Black Myth Wukong is developed by Game Science, a Chinese indie studio founded by former Tencent employees. The first gameplay trailer was released in August 2020 and shocked the gaming world with its high production value. The game took over 5 years of development before the first trailer was even shown. The developers use mocap, motion capture technology to ensure realistic movements in combat. The studio started with just 30 developers, but the team has expanded as development progressed. Game Science plans to release 3 games in the Black Myth series, with Wukong being the first. The team drew inspiration from games like God of War, Sekiro, and Dark Souls for the combat mechanics. The game's debut trailer was entirely gameplay-focused, setting a new standard for transparency in the gaming industry. The development team is working closely with Chinese cultural experts to ensure accuracy in the game's depiction of mythology. The game's soundtrack is composed by Zheng Yu, blending traditional Chinese instruments with modern orchestral elements. The developers have confirmed that no microtransactions will be present in the game. The development team has teased that there will be expansions or DLC to further explore Wukong's story. Black Myth Wukong was designed to be a single-player experience, with no plans for multiplayer modes. The game will support 4K resolution with ray tracing on next-gen consoles and PC. Game Science collaborated with NVIDIA to implement DLSS, Deep Learning Super Sampling, for enhanced performance. Game Science collaborated with NVIDIA to implement DLSS, Deep Learning Super Sampling, for enhanced performance. Black Myth Wukong is currently set for release on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X OS, and PC. Developers have hinted that there will be post-launch updates adding new content and features. The game has been praised for its high-quality voice acting, with a focus on authentic Chinese dialects. The development team frequently releases developer diaries and updates to keep the fanbase informed. The game's art direction combines the mysticism of ancient China with a dark, gritty atmosphere. The environments are crafted to be immersive and highly detailed, with realistic water physics and wind effects. The game features dense forests, towering mountains, and mystical realms, all of which are explorable. The lighting system uses real-time ray tracing, creating incredibly realistic shadows and reflections. Facial animations are done with extreme detail, capturing even the smallest expressions. Particle effects in the game, such as fire and magic spells, are designed to be visually spectacular. The game's open world is seamless, with no loading screens between different areas. Interactive environments allow players to use objects in the world to their advantage during combat. The enemy designs are heavily inspired by Chinese mythology, with creatures that are both grotesque and awe-inspiring. The game will feature multiple biomes, including snow-capped mountains, deserts, and swamps. One of the bosses is based on the White Bone Demon, one of the most iconic enemies from Journey to the West. The game contains hidden references to other Chinese myths outside of Journey to the West. Players can unlock secret forms for Wukong, offering new abilities and visual designs. The game's soundtrack will include traditional Chinese opera pieces. One of the enemies, the Bull Demon King, is directly lifted from the Journey to the West novel. Peking opera masks are scattered throughout the game as collectibles, a tribute to traditional Chinese theater. The game's staff physics were modeled to behave like a real ancient Chinese weapon. Black Myth Wukong has been compared to Elden Ring and Sekiro in terms of both difficulty and visual design. The game has received acclaim from developers such as Cory Barlog, God of War director. The game's reveal on IGN and other major gaming outlets led to a surge of interest in Chinese-made games. The demo of the game was shown behind closed doors at Gamescom 2023, sparking even more interest. Fans are eagerly awaiting the game's release, with pre-order demand expected to be high. The game's community has grown large enough. To create fan art, fan theories, and lore discussions, even before its official release. Fan-made mods are already being anticipated due to the game's popularity and potential for customization. The first trailer became so popular that it was analyzed frame by frame by gaming enthusiasts and content creators alike. Several major game critics have labeled Black Myth Wukong as a potential Game of the Year contender, even before its release. By the way, check out this video. In this video, I also predict this game of the year. Despite its high-budget feel, the game is being developed by an independent studio, which adds to the excitement. The YouTube comments section of the game's trailers often points out the game's similarity to Chinese cinema, particularly wuxia films. The game's AI system adapts to your combat style, making every playthrough feel unique and challenging. DLSS 3.0 and ray tracing enhance the visuals and performance, making the game look almost photorealistic in certain scenes. The character models use hyper-realistic skin shaders, making the textures of Wukong and enemies appear lifelike. Black Myth Wukong is one of the first games to fully take advantage of Unreal Engine 5's nanite technology, allowing for ultra-detailed environments. The game supports haptic feedback and adaptive triggers on PlayStation 5, offering a more immersive experience. It will also feature 3D audio, which enhances the immersive experience by allowing players to hear precise sound directions during gameplay. The developers confirmed that the game will support cross-save compatibility, allowing players to switch between platforms without losing progress. The game will include photo mode, allowing players to capture the breathtaking scenery and action-packed combat moments. No loading screens between areas in the game world, allowing for a seamless and immersive experience. Dynamic weather systems can change mid-combat, influencing gameplay and creating unpredictable situations. The global illumination system in the game helps create incredibly realistic lighting, especially during combat sequences in dark areas or under sunlight. Black Myth Wukong will support 144 Hz monitors, providing fluidity for high-performance gaming. It has been announced that Black Myth Wukong will feature a new Game Plus mode, encouraging players to replay the game with added challenges and rewards. Analysts predict that Black Myth Wukong could sell millions of copies within its first year, potentially making it one of the best-selling Chinese-developed games in history. With Black Myth Wukong being one of the first major Chinese-developed games to gain global attention, it's expected to break sales records in both China and international markets, setting a new standard for games from the region. Black Myth Wukong is one of the most anticipated games globally, with pre-orders expected to skyrocket once available, thanks to its massive hype and stunning trailers.